Welcome to Design with Miyoshi. I wanted to tell you about something new that a student taught me. Students teach me stuff all the time, and one of the things they've taught me is about the powerfulness of GitHub. And one student this year has told me about GitHub Desktop. I've used it before, but I didn't find it very useful for coding. However, I have found it to be useful for keeping things like SolidWorks drawings and parts. So here we go. Let's check it out. So I haven't downloaded it yet, but I found that if I don't record it, I probably will do it perfect the first time. So let's go ahead and look up GitHub Desktop and GitHub for Desktop. Here we go, GitHub, desktop, github.com. So let's go there and we'll download for Windows. And you can notice you can download for OS, download however you need to. So I'm gonna download for Windows 64 and it's not gonna take too long. And then I will just go ahead and run it. So I'll go ahead and run, open when done. That looks good. And then we'll run GitHub for GitHub Desktop. And there's my Norton tells me it's good, so that's good. And it looks like it's running somewhere. Maybe. Hopefully it is. Ah, there we go. It's being installed. Good launch once it's done. That's good. It didn't even ask me for my administrator password. That's interesting. At least not yet. So here we go. It's still installing, still installing. You can see the green bar going and going and going. All right. So we're going to go ahead and sign into GitHub. We already have one. If you just did this and you're brand new, you could obviously create a free account, but I've already got one. And let's go ahead. I think either one of these is the same. That's got to be the same. All right. So I'll just sign into GitHub. And I'll go ahead and open it up. And I don't know why it does that. That's okay. Okay. So I'll just hit okay. Don't know what that is. That's okay. And then, no, I don't, I suppose people do this, but I'm not going to do that. I'll hit finish. And there we go. Now, I already have a bunch of, well, I've got a bunch of repositories of students, so I will make sure that gets blacked out. Didn't want to have that. So what I want to do, I want to make a new repository on my hard drive. And notice there's several things. I can create a tutorial. I could do a clone repository. I can create a new repository on my disk, but I want to make an existing, and I can add an existing repository from my hard drive. But I want to make a new one here. And it says, you can drag and drop an existing repository folder here. I'm not gonna do that. Let's create a new repository. And I want to try something. So I'm gonna try something here. I want to see if I can make one from an existing folder. So I don't think it's gonna kill it. Let's go ahead and go to SolidWorks. And that should work. So I'm gonna call this SolidWorks. And it's my SolidWorks working directory. It's called SolidWorks working repo. And I'll put it in. If I'm going to do this for, I would actually use a git ignore, but I would make a new git ignore. So I'm going to create one, and I'm going to get rid of it later because there's no Windows one here. I don't think there is anyway. I'm using Windows. So press that. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and right now just create. Doesn't matter. Let's create one there. I'm going to use the MIT license, and I'm going to make it private, but it doesn't give me the option right now. So I'll create the repository, and hopefully it doesn't kill my. There we go. So now I'm going to publish it, and I'm going to make it private. Okay. And I'll leave it that way. Publish your repository. Now I hope it didn't kill all my files, but hey, I could create them all again. It's not that big a deal. All right, so let's go find out. Let's see if it killed all my files. Doesn't look like it. Oh, it made it in SolidWorks. So oh, that's just my Git stuff. Oh, that's interesting. That's okay. It made my repo inside the folder where I wanted to create it. So that's okay. I will just go from there. Now, the git ignore, I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. So on the internet, go to gitignore.io. And what I want to do is create a git ignore for, there's none for SolidWorks, so I will show you that though. It's really nice, you can find out what stuff is there, but I'm gonna make one for Windows because there's some types of Windows files that you don't want, just Windows files that you don't want to upload to your GitHub. So I'll select everything here. So I'll do Control-C or right click and copy, either way. And then I'll come over here and I'll right click on this git ignore. And I'm gonna open with, I'm just gonna open it with Notepad. Notepad, I don't need to always use it, just open. And I'll Control-A, Control-V, and there it is. And I'll just do save, and I'll close this guy. So now my git ignore will ignore some of those Windows files that I don't need. Okay, my README file, I can adjust that tier too. But I might do that on GitHub, but it doesn't matter. It's going to just be a, just going to tell me about stuff later. Okay, so I can close this guy, and I'll use that. And if I look on my repository now, I can go to my own repository, and there it is. Look, SolidWorks repository. There's all my good stuff. If I add stuff here, I have to make sure I pull it down from here. But right now, I'll just do that. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to, I'll use that as my working directory normally. So what I'm going to do is I want to see my repository in the, oh, that's okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is just go to SolidWorks, and I'll go to the SolidWorks here. So I have SolidWorks, and all these files here, I'm going to go ahead and grab them all. And if I had done this beforehand, I wouldn't do this. I would just create my repository before I did this, and then put all my stuff in here. But I'll go ahead and put it in SolidWorks. Now I will go ahead and move them because I don't need them in this folder. it'll make my SolidWorks have to think a little bit when I open them, but that's okay. I can work with that. So now there's all these new files here, and so I'm just going to say put SolidWorks files into repo. Yeah, we'll just spell it out. I have to put a summary as well. I'll just put this in summary. Put it there. And this is what would be called a commit message if you were a coder. So I'll go ahead and do commit to main. Now what this does is it just commits your changes to your local repository. Then what we have to do is now once we've committed it, we need to push it. Pushing it means you're putting it up to GitHub itself. So I'll push origin. And this is what I was thinking to show in Explorer, but I'll push to origin or push origin, and it's going to get all my files up there. And look, it's resolving all the deltas. In other words, what it's doing is looking at all the changes. And now everything is beautiful, hunky-dory. If I come back to GitHub, notice it doesn't look like it did anything, but if I do a refresh, all my files are here. Now, I probably would do this a little bit differently if I started from scratch. I might make a couple different directories and all that kind of good stuff, but this will work for now. And I have all my stuff now backed up to GitHub, and it's wonderful, and I'm ready to go. So, and you can do this with a portfolio. You can do this with all your files you want to use, and just use GitHub Desktop for all that kind of stuff. One last note, I would use GitHub Desktop for Unity projects as well. Either that or the Git bash command line stuff. Either one of those would work well, but it looks like this is the way to go. So GitHub Desktop is great, especially for those who are not coders, and especially for my design students. One last thing I forgot, you should put this in your process as you are working on GitHub and SolidWorks. Let's say that I need to change something here, so I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change this to 14, and I'm going to call it, oops, didn't do it. Oh, I'll just type it in, and then I'll highlight it all, and we'll change that to 14. All right, so let's just say I draw something in my drawing or my model, and then I'm happy and I'm save it up. All right, then what you want to do, and I'm going to do a save as well. I'm going to go ahead and save this as a PDF. Yes. All right, what you want to make sure you do is after you save it up, and I'll just close this guy. After you save everything up, you'll notice that your GitHub Desktop says, hey, you changed something. So what you want to do is put in a commit. This is called the commit message. It just calls it whatever called summary. Updated axle join, and I'll just do commit to main. Again, this only commits it to your local repository. Then you just push it. So I'll push the origin. The nice thing about it, once it's done, you just look back on here and you see, oh, way down here. Oh, look. Where'd it go? Oh, I need to refresh. I do look at semi-axle, you see it was done 27 seconds ago, and that's pretty cool. So again, your process should be make your changes on your models and drawings, come to your GitHub Desktop, put in a summary, commit to main, and then push to GitHub. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Design with Miyoshi.